Hello anyone who's watching this. Apologies for the lack of videos for the last couple of weeks. I've been away, but I'm back on my computer now, so hopefully I can give you some useful information and some optimistic outlook for the back end of the month. I'm quite optimistic now. I was a bit skeptical for the last couple of days, but now a lot of the ensembles and forecasts are agreeing, so hopefully I can break that down. It's worth noting all the avalanche forecasts have stopped as there is so little snow. We're just in this really warm, really mild wind regime coming from the southwest with warm, dry air, and that's going to continue for half a week at least. But what's happening after this moves away is we are cooling down to around average temperatures for January, and that's really good. Below average as well, so that's the freezing level sitting around 600 meters for most of Scotland. And that's happening towards the middle of next week, just as the high pressure that we've got at the moment, just over here, the inversion conditions that we've got, moves away to the eastwards, and we are going back to finally a Atlantic regime, which is going to bring lots of moisture, really unpleasant conditions, wet and windy and potentially stormy as well. But we just need this to fill the gullies and bring us a lot of snow that should go through some cycles. That's why the thaw was so extensive that we had. There was a lot of snow around, but it wasn't particularly consolidated, so it was just stripped super quickly in the milder temperatures. But it's good to see all the ensembles are agreeing that we're coming out of this spell and we're sticking around average conditions and slightly below average as well. So this is really good, especially for a modern winter. So this regime is trying to develop from around Thursday, and it's just going to bring lots of low pressure systems. There's no point looking into these and getting really excited about, oh, that's going to bring significant snow down to 400 meters, and then the back end of that's going to bring a really good thaw cycle, and then the next one's going to freeze it up and bond well, and just because it's quite difficult to predict these. But just note there will be 2, maybe 3 named storms coming through over the next month, and they should bring a lot of snow to a lot of the mountains. It's going to be very unpleasant to be out in them, but we do need this to bring good conditions later in the season. So this is the GFS Arcos model as well. This has less low pressure moving through, but sitting further north, colder, but less cycles of thawing and refreezing, so potentially less well-bonded snowpack. The ECMWF is very similar to the GFS as well. If I just bring this forward here, it's got some slightly further south low pressure systems moving through, which will bring much warmer, wetter air and a higher freezing level, but a faster cycle. So with the temperatures at 850 hectopascals, so just above the summit of Ben Nevis, we're looking for this darker blue, not the lighter blue, definitely not the green. And with the Atlantic ramping up to bring lots of storm systems, you can see here that they're quite cold. Cold enough to produce snow, not down to sea level, but perfect for those cycles that we want for the mountains. So the most important thing for these is the freezing level. It's something that we can't predict too much from this range. But if I skip forward to Friday, you can see it's sitting around 600, and I'll just run it forward for a few times. The details of this won't be accurate at all, but it's around 600-800, which is kind of perfect for most of the crags. Just a couple of 400s blipping up there to bring snow to where we want it without ruining all the roads. So another useful tool that I'd like to share is this winter conditions monitoring in the Lake District by the BMC. It shows the temperature of the turf relative to the air temperature, and this is for Hell Hill at 850 meters. And what I'd like to show is that even though we've been significantly above freezing in the air temperatures, under the surface, this is at 20 centimeters below the surface, the ground is still just around freezing, and we've been warm for quite a long time now. But if I just zoom out, you can see that it's not moved much. So hopefully this is it's ready to receive more snow, and it's not going to need to cool down too much again before the snow can lie on top of it. Note this is quite deep, and a bit higher up this is the 10 centimeter deep. It's had a bit more of an effect, but it's still not spiked up to where it was towards the end of the year. So the ground is still fairly cold, especially further down. Now the reason why I was slightly skeptical about these low pressure systems moving through and everyone getting quite excited is there was some strong signals for a Scandinavian high, and although that would bring colder temperatures, it would bring absolutely no moisture, well, relatively little moisture in comparison. And these were quite commonly being shown a couple of days ago, but they've kind of been phased out now. So all the models are kind of leaning more towards the low pressure systems moving through, and you can see it with this GIF just here. This high pressure developing over Scandinavia, and it slows down the movement of the low. And it just means that it's not going to be as convective, it's not going to bring as much snowfall, and it will be colder. Less moisture can be carried across to fall as snow. But like I say, most of these kind of ideas have moved out. This is a really clear version of it. So the high pressure over Scandinavia, no moisture can get in at all, but it's kind of that what we've had too much of now, which is just really cold conditions without much precipitation. And finally, I know a lot of people just go to the Met Office, which is quite good. Generally, but I'm just going to say that I quite disagree with what they've got for the end of the week. A lot of people use the phrase double snow and get really excited when they see that on Met Office. They haven't got that at the moment, and I think they will. When this updates, should probably be like Tuesday, but there's going to be extensive snow Friday, Saturday. And I'm quite confident in this. You can see this really messy graph here. We've got the warmer temperatures that are coming through now, going to just below average, and then a slightly spike in temperature as the warm front of a low pressure system moves through, and significant precipitation on the backing end of that. And a lot of the runs are saying that as well. So this is the system that should be moving through the 24th to 25th, and there's going to be a lot of precipitation and a lot of wind behind this as well. I think this might hit 80-90 mile an hour, and I think it's going to bring significant amounts of precipitation, hopefully as snow. So Met Office is usually a really good resource, but you know, it's not going to be a southerly wind on Saturday. Get a bit more excited about this is what I would say. I'm quite optimistic. But thank you very much for listening.